All right, good morning. So for this interview, we have four questions that they're going to go over. The first one is tell us about why you chose nursing as your career. There's like a multitude of reasons. I have an aunt who's really influential for me. She's been an OR nurse at Pennsylvania Hospital for the last 17 years. She actually did travel nursing to San Francisco, Seattle, and Boston. All of them were like year-long programs, and she did Seattle for a year, but she ended up staying in San Francisco for 3 years and Boston for six. And just when I hear her talk about how she fell in love with Boston and how she fell in love with travel nursing, I mean, from a young age, I was completely just smitten by the idea. Um, Nursing as a career, I just have that kind of personality. Like, I always put other people first, even to a fault sometimes, which I feel that a lot of nurses do. Um, so after consideration and thinking about school, like, I'm just not like a business brain. I don't have like the cutthroat mentality for that. Um, Math, math was my strong suit, but not like science was. When I took my first anatomy course, I fell in love with it. I had like 101 in the class. Like, I didn't get a question wrong. I loved studying for it. Full on nerd for that class. I had a really nice time. I enjoyed my teacher a lot. So I loved anatomy and physiology. Micro, not so much. But then once I got into the nursing courses, I was like, okay, this is what I was meant to do. Or at least that's how I feel at this point in my life. Um, Chose nursing as my career. Career wise, I would like to end up in labor and delivery or the OR. Either one is just as interesting to me. I mean, how many I you always hear midwives say how many people say like they brought life into the world today. Like, that is just such a gift to me. So I always wanted to like act on that. Hopefully, go back and become a midwife. That's down the line. I'm not quite certain about that. And then the OR, like life saving procedures and even palliative procedures, like just making people feel better when they're at the end of the line. Like, that's such a gift to me that people get to wake up and do that, and they get paid for it. They go home, they live their lives, and they do that every day. Like, I don't know, it's so amazing to me. Um, as for describing my ideal work environment, I would just say a place where all people can thrive. Like, no matter your background, your socioeconomic status, the color of your skin, anything that sets you apart, your religion, your gender identity, anything that sets you apart from the norm, I would want everyone to feel comfortable in. Excuse me. Making sure that like they're thought of even in daily speech. Like, I'm not even quite sure saying things like ladies and gentlemen, like just making sure that everyone is included, like ladies and gentlemen, and those outside of the binary. That would be my ideal work environment. I know we're a couple years away from that, but it's not too late to start working on it. Um, and like I said, a place where everyone can thrive, where there's resources, there's someone running the show that knows what they're doing. I'm sure we've all worked at a place where the manager wasn't the most fit for the job, and unfortunately that's how it is some places. But I would like to kind of feel around first and make sure that my manager is well aware of what they're doing. They know how to help in a crisis, keep it cool, calm, collected. Um, Having like I don't mind working hard. It doesn't scare me. It doesn't bother me. I've always like embraced like toil, but an ideal work environment is, like I said, somewhere we can thrive. Not too much of a workload. I've been at hospitals where the nurses have had six patients. Then I've been at hospitals where they've had three or four, and you can see which ones get better quality care. Um, my ideal work environment, that would have to be, I want to say the OR. Somewhere cool, calm, and collected for the most part. I mean, what do I know about the OR? But where there's protocol and logistics and everyone knows your next step and you're all working together. You don't close that patient until the scrub nurse says that all the tools are done, until the doctor is okay, until the anesthesiologist, until the med techs have sterilized. Like, everyone working together from the bottom of the chain to the top. Not that I look at techs as if they're the bottom. I'm a tech right now, but you know what I'm saying. What do you expect as a new to practice nurse? I want to prove what I know, but also show humility. My first nursing class, my teacher said, know what you know. And if you know it, stand by it. But as a new nurse, things we have ingrained in our brains from nursing school might not be the right way things are handled in the real world. So I'm going to stand by my beliefs and what I think, but if there's someone who knows better and is more experienced than I am and they're saying otherwise, you have to be open to listening. Obviously, you're a brand new nurse. You're not over or above any of the other workers. I would expect a charge nurse that's, patient and fully understanding that I am a new nurse. I have no idea what I'm doing other than what I've learned by the book. And it's vastly different learning from the book and then going and performing the procedure on a real patient. A charge nurse that, has educational courses, and I get like my accreditations for the higher levels of CPR and learning how to do a chest tube, and I'm sure there's so many other accreditations that I want at some point. So I want to be able to do everything I can when I walk in that room, no matter what my patient's ailments are. I want to be able to do everything that I can. Obviously, it's not going to happen right away, but there's no reason that it couldn't. Like, all I can think of is CPR for now, but I hope you understand what I'm trying to say, that I'd like to be accredited in every aspect. And I expect mistakes. I mean, they're going to happen. I was a waiter for years. I've always said if you can be a waiter, you can be a nurse. It's all customer service. And you're going to make mistakes. You're going to have people yell at you because of those mistakes. You can't take it personal, even though sometimes it may sound very personal. But you just have to learn from that experience. And that's what I expect as a new nurse, learning something new every single day. How would you handle problems with a coworker? As I said, I was a waiter. There's problems with coworkers all the time. Someone's not filling up the ice. Someone's not cleaning the plates properly. So yeah, it's a mess sometimes working with coworkers. But as I was saying about the patient, you can't take it personal. You just have to say, okay, well, here's my issue. This is me addressing it. Fix it or don't. You have to go about your business. Not everyone is going to be as good as a worker as you are, unfortunately. Would I go higher up? If someone was in danger, yeah. I wouldn't want to just, make a mountain out of a molehill, but at some point, if they're being a danger to themselves or others, it would have to be reported. Anything reportable, I would report, but if someone's being lazy, they're not putting styrofoam cups in the nutrition center in the hospital, like, that's a little different. I'll do those things. I don't mind, because that's just how I was as a worker. When I was bored, I would do more. I would always go above and beyond. If anything did ever get personal, which I've seen at my hospital, that's just kind of where you take a step back and say, listen, this is not the time or place. We can talk about this afterwards. If you want to address it with a manager in the room, so that way we can discuss, in a professional manner. Because it's not always professional the way that coworkers go at each other. I'm sure you know that. Yeah, I would just try and handle it as professional as possible. Talk it out. There's nothing that can't be talked out. It's a job. You go in, you clock out, you go home. So I wouldn't want any personal issues or to offend anyone ever, honestly, as a coworker. Some people are just rude, but those are the people that you keep it nothing more than professional with, and you keep it moving about your day. Like, you can't let them get you down or affect your work. Yeah, other than that, I mean, I don't generally have problems with coworkers. I've had people talk down to me, but I'm just like, okay, I'll keep my distance. Won't really come to you for any more questions. I'll find out someone who's happy to help. You know what I mean? You have to learn at some point how to just work around the people that'll give you issues. But yeah, I've never really had issues with handling a coworker, so I don't see why I would this time.